Our sixth inventor is Ora Orr, and besides her unusual name, she is noteworthy for her invention of a child's carriage and cradle, patent US 530449. It's really a clever idea and one that should have proven useful and practical. However, so far as could be learned, she never received any compensation for this device. Yet before we delve into her flash of creativity, let us look at her early life. Ora was born in the logging town of Ussel, along California's Mendocino coast, about 35 miles north of Fort Bragg, on March 18, 1872. Some sources indicate 1873. Her town of birth does not exist today, but at that time, there was apparently enough population to warrant a hotel. Yet by the time of the 1880 census, Ora's family had moved to Calpella, about 52 miles southeast of Fort Bragg, also 120 miles northwest of San Francisco. Her father was James Henry Orr, 1849 to 1928, and her mother was Elmira Anderson, 1854 to 1901. James had crossed the plains with his parents, Samuel M. Orr and Urith Murray Orr, from Kentucky. Orr had 4 siblings, an older brother, James Henderson Orr, a sister, Catherine Kitty Orr, Dashiell, and 2 other brothers, Jerry Samuel Orr died early, and Robert Henry Orr. There isn't much to Calpella today, but here are 2 views. There was little that could be found about Ora's dad, but he listed himself as a hotel operator in one census. All the evidence seems to indicate that he may have also worked in the logging industry, which was the source of many jobs in the area at the time. Hence, it is not surprising the family may also have lived at 10 Mile River, about 8 miles north of Fort Bragg, and Westport, about 8 miles north of 10 Mile River. Logging was prevalent in both of these areas. The Orrs must have made Westport their home in 1894 when Ora filed her only patent on April 28th, since this is what she listed in the written body of the invention, called the specification or disclosure. The figure shows the drawing from that patent. A set of springs, shown in figure 3 of the drawing, allows a carriage cradle to rock back and forth. This would be no doubt handy after pushing a baby somewhere, allowing the baby to be calmed while the mother most likely rested. Of course, there have been later carriages with the ability to rock the baby, but it is unknown if the manufacturers ever heard of Ora or her patent. Westport is actually quite a pretty area today, as can be seen in the following 3 photos. On March 25th, 1898, Ora married David Millar, a local man. He too likely worked in the logging and lumber industry. However, for some reason, they were married in Santa Rosa. David was born June 13, 1873, in 10 Mile River, and one reference indicated that both he and his wife were active in Fort Bragg's social scene. There is no evidence the Fort Bragg of today has much of a social scene, though Fort Bragg of the past had a mill and many churches. Hence there were clubs and other pursuits for the people to follow. Probably the most interesting building in today's Fort Bragg is the Guest House Museum. It was built in 1892 and can be viewed in the following photo. At least by 1914, the Millers had moved to Fort Bragg, and this is when Ora filed for and received trademark number 97631 for ground herbs and seeds for flavoring cooked dishes. Her trademark is just a tiny symbol. Can't violate the trademark and include it here, that she would affix to her products, showing that she was the producer. It was very difficult finding much information about Ora and her husband, since they apparently led relatively quiet lives. In addition, there were no children. Nevertheless, I did find some photos at the Hill-Poe Research Library in Ukiah, and they now follow. Ora died on April 12, 1939, at 67 in Fort Bragg. However, she is buried at the Russian River Cemetery in Ukiah. Her husband survived her by about 10 years. He died March 16, 1949, and he is buried beside his wife in Ukiah. The following photos show she and her husband's headstones. Hence, Orr had a reasonably hidden life, and would probably not be remembered today were it not for her invention and trademark. However, the fine details of her existence were probably interesting to her, but they sadly have evaded scrutiny and understanding.